Good evening, everyone. I'm welcoming my esteemed panel, which is got real estate gurus as well as D2C disruptors. We're all gathered here today to talk about a different realm that we're all experiencing. It's about data-backed D2C brands. It's about people who've been online, how they're exploring offline spaces, maybe malls, maybe high streets. How are they taking this decision? How is it benefiting the consumer? So, we'll jump straight away to our D2C brands. And Karan, I'd like to start with you. You've obviously got almost 100 stores that you run. So when, how, and why did this offline start? And, what are your learnings that you'd like to share with some of your peers here?
Uh, thanks, Sakshi, and lovely evening to be with the panel here. I represent the sleep company. We started the brand in 2019. It was started by the virtue of a need in the market. We realized that market doesn't have any innovation done from many, many years. Last innovation was done 50 years ago in mattress. And we could figure out that we could do something as an innovative product. And this is where we got our patented technology and we tested the market doing only online, like many other D2C brands. COVID helped. We got a lot of tailwinds because of COVID. And with 2 years of business operations, we started realizing that how to grow more, right? And I think that's where what D2C brands are able to do better than, I'll say, other brands is listen to customers a lot. So we remain very, very agile, and we keep on looking at what customer feedback is coming in. And we listened to a lot of calls, and we realized that customers were asking one thing: why should I buy you? Where is your store? Because the category is such, it is so personalized that I want to look, touch and feel the mattress. You want to spend 30,000 rupees in a good mattress for your sleep. And when you want to do that, you want to touch and feel. You will not buy a 30,000 product easily online. So it was not something which we did. The hand was played on us by the customers. We definitely tested a store. We tested a store in Kormangla. That was a very tough journey because the market is run through dealers and distributors. It's a general trade business. India where mattress buying is a horrible experience. If you try to buy a mattress, dealer talks only one thing. Sir, ये margin है, ये product है, discount इतना है, ले लो. No one is talking what is required, what quality, how will it help my body, how will it help my sleep. And we also spoke to a lot of dealers. We also spoke to a lot of distributors. And the only question they will ask us is कि मेरा margin क्या रहेगा? No one is talking about customer experience. I think that made us very clear that ये तो नहीं करना है. We will do something which will be a very good experience for the consumers. And that's where we decided that we'll open only company-owned stores where we can control the experience. Up company-owned experience doesn't exist in the market. 1 or 2 brands were doing it. The best case scenario was that they will do 10, 12 lakhs of sales per month from a store. We said we'll do double. Let's open 2 stores. Let's take a target of 20 lakhs and see how does it go. And we opened a first store in Kormangla and second store in Kondapur in Hyderabad because again we looked at customer data, saw a lot of search orders coming from these areas, and we tested out opening 2 stores there. And we were surprised again, we started doing 1 crore a month from these markets. So we were confident that this is a journey, this is what we need to do, offline is a way forward. And then in last 15 months, we have opened almost 123 stores. So that's been the journey of really listening to the customers and then keep on opening stores, reaching out to more consumers. And now that journey is just going on and on.
You mentioned that 80-20 was the ratio of high street versus malls.
Yeah.
What, is that ratio going to increase?
I hope so. I think all mall people are here. And it was not an easy journey. 80-20 ratio is also which has happened for us, I'll say in last 6 months. My first 50 stores had 1 mall. Because, see, it's a category creation. And obviously, I understand where real estate comes into play, where people don't trust the brand easy, right? They think that, what is this brand? We have not even listened about it. What is this category? Exactly, right? That I have always bought a mattress from a dealer. Why will I buy from a company store? So that trust on the model didn't exist. But obviously, it was a lot of meeting all my friends here through my team. Keep on knocking on the doors that we need to enter, trust us. We kept on doing this, and today we have almost 18, 20 stores in malls. And They do good. They do little better than my high street stores, but definitely more footfalls. Definitely more footfalls, and we intend to keep on trying that even more and more.
Thank you, Karan. Moving on to you, Pradeep. You know, Karan mentioned his category such which gave him the push because the product type was such that the consumer wanted to experience it. But in your case, that's not necessarily the push. So what was the reason for you to kind of foray into offline?
Firstly, very happy to be here. I landed yesterday when it was summer and today is winter, right? I think it only happens, ये दिल्ली में ही होता है, I guess, right? No, just to sort of quickly introduce, I run a brand called Zook. We're a modern Indian lifestyle brand. All our products are proudly Indian and 100% vegan. Um, for us, Sakshi, I mean, first thing was really we saw that there was a lot of customers and because D2C is very big for us, we understand what is the customer behavior, where the add to cart to conversion was not happening, right? And from that lens, we identified a pocket and we did what Karan exactly said, and they've sort of phenomenally executed the offline route. For us, it was a lot of knocking doors, requesting कि please हमें store दीजिए, right? And the first question would be आपके stores कहाँ हैं, right? And you'd be like नहीं है, उसीलिए आए हैं, please दीजिए, right? And somebody took a bet on us, so we started in Nexus Seawoods Mall. What we observed was this: 85% of customers buying at the store have never bought from us. 9 out of 10 of them who bought from us or are visiting the store already knew about us. Right? So they already knew, okay, we've seen you on Instagram, we know it's so-and-so is your brand ambassador, these are your bags, we have influencers who've seen the bag. So all of that was happening, right? So a lot of customer data was there. And now that has helped us start 3 stores in 1.5 years. And then I've signed 3 LOIs in 1.5 weeks. Because now I know literally कि हाँ, इतने customers अगर मेरे हैं, so that means I can sign a store, it'll do roughly this much business. And all of that is very clear. So, which is why I think that conviction of starting the first 3 stores and we've made tons of mistakes, right? In terms of merchandise, in terms of offers. And the classic one I'll tell you is when internally we say, ab thoda discounting karenge, the online team is super happy and the offline team is super sad, right? कि यार ये क्या हो रहा है, मेरा AOV, मेरा, all of that goes for a toss, right? So all of those lessons we have learned, we still have a lot of things to learn from here on. But today now we have 5 stores, 5 more signed, so about 10 stores will be there. And we have some capital, we raised $10 million recently, so we know we want to expand on the offline side. But the learnings have been this, कि there is a completely different pool of customers who are aware of the brand digitally, who we can sort of choose locations based on our data, and then we can double down and decide very fast and do a good job of. And that's the model that we're going to be sort of scaling from here.
So you said that you've got 5 stores and 5 more to go. What's the target in mind? Where are we aiming to reach?
Yeah, no, phase 1 is 25 stores, and this is very interesting. I was talking to founders who sort of opened a lot of stores, Lenskart, etc. And, I said, 5 stores हैं, हम ये learn कर रहे हैं, right? And they said, 5 stores में क्या सीखोगे? There's nothing you can learn in that. Open at least 10 to 15 stores to start off. Now, because the first 5 are doing decent, so we said, okay, let's open 25 in phase 1. In our case, it will be predominantly malls. Right? So that's what we feel a lot of comfort in, and then we'll scale up further from there.
Okay. What about you?
Hey, hi. So I'm Alok, co-founder of Berilush, and we are a fast fashion, women-centric brand. The primary thing when we started 7 years back, it was how do we get like global trends in India fast, specifically for the Gen Zs and the urban millennials. So around 2 years back, 18 months or maybe 20 months back, we decided to go offline. And the primary reason behind that was we are trying to create a brand, right? And what we realized that, like being a digital first brand, a lot of data, a lot of, product control, many things are there, centralized warehousing. So we understand, like what sells, what doesn't. But one thing that we were observing is that the brand searches were increasing year on year, right? So that means that, people are now searching for Berilush. So that was the time when we decided that, if we have to further increase the brand equity, we have to be present in offline. And like when the first store was launched in Gaur City, Noida, so that was among the brands of like W, Biba, and slowly people started comparing the brand with these national brands, right? And that is what happens. Like even if the revenue contribution from these stores are, currently we are at 6 stores, so it's very minimal, like less than 3% of our overall revenue. But still the perception of the customers is very different because they see a Berilush between, a W and a Biba, and then they start comparing it, with the national brands. So even if we were operational, in the online space for a long period of time, but like when we, in LinkedIn we posted, like opening our first store, and we got, tons of messages and congratulatory messages, and we were thinking, yeah, this is like something which is like 5-6 lakhs a month we are doing from this store, right? But the perception is very different. They start comparing you with the national brands, and that is the reason why we got into it, right?
So for you, the storytelling was more about creating more visibility
Absolutely.
for the brand.
Absolutely.
And do the offline stores, have you been able to create a method to understand how they impact the sales
So
of the online?
a few things that we have, it's not very clear, but certain things that we have noticed is like, for example, the 6 stores that we have opened, we analyzed the cities in which we were operational, and we did see a uptick, especially when we look at Indore, Surat, which were, not among the top, say, 30 cities, but they started becoming that, right? From a Delhi, Hyderabad point of view, we could not actually see a difference as such because the impact is not that high, but overall we did see an impact in that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to, everyone on the mall side here, Yogesh, we'll start with you. Karan said that it's, Yogesh, this question's for you. Karan said that there's always a perception, it's very difficult to get spaces in malls. And for D2C, obviously, a lot of times they don't have existing spaces, etc. So is there a mindset change? Is there an openness? Can we create spaces where they could be incubators for the for them?
Yeah. Thanks. So, he's absolutely right. Whenever you go to a leasing department of any mall, they will ask you what are the stores, how they look like, just want to have a perception of the store. And the new stores from D2C, they don't have any stores open, so it becomes very difficult to take a decision because any store, physical store, entails a lot of capex requirement and it's a long-term commitment. Second, I just want to admit this that D2C brands, all these brands which are coming to the malls, to physical stores, it's a fresh breath of air. It really has given so much of freshness to the shopping centers. For example, in our shopping centers in DLF, we have tried many brands and all of them have done very well. Most of them have done very well, and some of them have really got confidence that they can open more stores. So, just to give you names like Mama, Suta, Linen, Loom, Chidia, Fable Street. There's so many of them. And earlier, my learning in all of this is that earlier everybody used to say that physical stores has limitations. कि इतनी catchment आ सकती है, इतने लोग आ सकते हैं, इतने merchandise सकते हैं, इसकी limitations हैं. And online has no limitations. You can sell as much you want. अब ये जो D2C वाले brands हैं ना, ये कहते हैं online has lot of limitations. We can't reach that many brands. Now we want fresh number of people and fresh set of consumers. So ये बड़ा interesting aspect है that physical space has less limitations than the online. Yeah. So it's a very good move for the mall operators. Yeah.
Ashish, if you were to give DTC brands spaces and if they didn't have spaces, what is it that you think, we have a lot of people sitting in this room, 5 things that you think you'll advise them on what they should be ready with?
First of all, they should be ready with the rental that we ask, the offline rental. Of course, the ROI that they expect online is somewhere, I guess, 1 year to 1.5 year, 2 years, but in offline, it is quite high. So you have to be ready with the capex, of course. The capex you have to put in, then, of course, the interference of malls in terms of, in teaching you how to run the store offline. Of course, you know it better, but then we have our own set of suggestions also. Apart from that, of course, they know their customer. They know through the pin code of that area, they know what their customer want. It is just that they have to be ready to understand really the offline pattern of buying behavior of the primary catchment.
No, I think, these are very valuable inputs because whenever you go and present to a mall developer, most of the times, we're quite closed about how well we know our business, but offline is something that, they could partner with you and work together. On that note, Aman, anything? Yeah. So I'm saying, what do you feel in terms of the malls that you're leasing currently? How are you seeing this proportion of D2C?
So, we've been seeing these boutique brands sprout online and, giving quality stuff. In fact, I have someone my wife is doing a boutique business and she just started out of like a garage setup, literally a garage setup. And she has only like 12 workers under her who are tailors, and she's a designer, and she's doing a business of about 35 to 40 lakhs a month with a margin upwards of, it's quite a good margin. I don't want to say anything. But the kind of work
He needs to
these
go
guys
back
are
home.
doing, the kind of work these guys are doing, and they're selling online, and they're making a huge amount of money. Of course, we want that to come into the malls, of course. You want these big brands which are becoming really big online in their space to come into the physical realm. And of course, there should be a certain space that has to be kept in the mall for these brands, definitely. And I feel that, once these guys come in, they should be supported by the malls. Definitely, they should be supported initially. And a revenue share model, definitely, because the kind of revenues these guys are we should definitely get a bite of that.
Your rental is already revised.
And it can, if it goes in our way, then we can probably get a bite of their online revenues as well. If that can, we can do capex for them. They can give us some of the revenues online. So that's jokes apart. It's a great opportunity to have these brands come into the malls. There should be a certain setup where D2C brands are promoted. And obviously, pop-ups is one of the biggest, one of the biggest things that you can start with, and you can see that these, some of the brands that are doing really well can definitely be handed stores with revenue share models, and capex can be done by the developer, wherein they can have a good, startup as on a physical realm. So I think it's a great idea.
I think that's a great point because, I do think, spaces as incubators help them realize, like he said, he's had many learnings. Some small learnings can come out of that, which they can take with them when they create their larger physical stores. And, we do have to promote the entire environment. And I think pop-ups is 100% something that definitely helps.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen so many of the new brands come up with these pop-ups and suddenly take stores, in Select City Walk I've seen.
Biggest example.
Few of my friends who put on pop-ups and did really well, they actually got stores. So, sorry, that was
Multiple
the past. So, so it's a good idea.
I have one sort of
sure.
I think pop-ups are great. I think DLF has done a fantastic job of that as well. But actually from D2C side, we are not expecting anything different from how you would treat a legacy brand. Both in terms of, don't worry about capex, don't worry about rental, but don't charge us a premium ki ab D2C se hamara margin better kar lete hain. That's our only request, to be honest, right? If you give us the same sort of rental LOI as our neighbors, we are more than happy. And of course, we love sort of, advice on how we should do it better, because I think the merchandising, marketing, some pushes happen ki LED daga do, and we're like, yaar, capex mein kaise fit kare, and all of that will happen. But aside from that, if we are just treated at par, I think we're more than happy, to be honest. That's my thing. I think ref share capex nahi hai to chalega. We're here to sort of invest, and I think it's important.
Shibu,
The
this
mall guys
question.
are clapping and the brand guys are like, "ये क्यों बोल रहा है?" Right? So,
Sir, we don't get real estate free. And the banks are not very kind to us. They don't give revenue share to us.
Shibu, my next question's to you. We were talking about how there have been so many successful, D2C brands in the past. But all of a sudden, we've given this recognition to this as a category where, we're encouraging more and more brands to come. So is there something that comes in your mind where obviously the share is increasing in the malls? Is there something that they can do, or is there something that the mall developers can do to, for the infrastructure to be better for brands who are starters?
See, I today operate 1,200 stores in the country, and my malls are operational for the last 12 years. I think the first D2C brand I dealt with was Lenskart, and I still remember the owner coming to speak to me to say that we are a good brand and all. And I think he's one of the most successful brands, and I have him in all my malls, and he does phenomenal sales, and I think he's today beating everyone. So it's not that you have to treat them differently, but you obviously need to be treating them with par, and I respect all that because everyone is investing money and energy, and they're very successful. The fact remains is that when you meet a brand, manager, a BD gentleman of a brand, they don't have so much information which the D2C people can give us about our own catchment, our own pin codes and all. So we respect actually all the D2C brands. The only fact remains is that they don't have the exposure to come and open a store. Light Store actually gave us a lot of brands, and Light Store came and worked with us in Bangalore, and Zook opened with us in Bangalore. Now we are discussing with Zook in Lucknow also. So Light Store did the formula which you said, sir. So what Light Store used to do is they used to come and take space from us. They build the store, they pay us all the monies, and they just have to come and place the brand for 3 months, 6 months, and then they replace the brand. And if the brand is successful, they can take a full-time store. That was the model they did. There are so many brands who have now opened from D2C in kiosk models. These are all mostly the beauty brands, minimalistic, many brands. So today I have in my mall, out of the 1,200 stores I operate today, I have 50 brands who are D2C brands, and I am discussing with everyone. And I think, there are some stores which are doing phenomenal sales. Soul Store just now opened the first store of Lucknow with me in my mall in Lulu Mall. We're doing phenomenal sales. So what is happening is we respect everyone, and actually we give more respect because of the data which they come from. So I think, we are actually open to do business with everyone.
Talking about being backed by data, I think I completely agree with that point. It's extremely helpful to the developers as well, because when these brands come in, they exactly know how much sale they're going to do. Rohit, your thoughts on this as an evolving category, and how do you think that data helps the mall developer make that informed choice for the brand as well?
So I completely echo all the thoughts what my colleagues have said, right? So I think predominantly mall business is, all of us have a tough job to do. We are in a business of keeping the mall relevant for consumer all the time, right? So D2C as a category, or within D2C, each category gets a freshness to the mall, definitely, right? So we are actually at all times looking out for a brand in that category which thrives. We definitely know the data points that they are one of the successful online. So obviously it becomes easier for us to pick them up and then eventually see what results they are doing on ground. But overall point of view, we are more than happy and exploring which each categories. Nowadays, fashion, D2C brands in fashion is doing phenomenally well. I think eyewear, beauty had always been there, right? There are multiple examples like Nike, Lenskart, so on and so forth. These guys are now billion brand, more than $1 billion worth, right? So fashion as categories, food as category had always been there, right? So it's not anything different. Maybe the D2C guys have realized now that because they get choked out after a certain level of valuation online, when they want to really build their brand, they have to come offline, right? So I think that's the journey they are in, and that's the journey we are in. So we'll be more than happy, and we've been exploring at each category, each of them. Yeah.
Thank you. Jatin, this one's for you. You've recently, built out a huge destination did you kind of for food? So
Yeah.
while you were building out that destination for food and for retail, was there any, and this was in the heart of the wholesale community in a certain way, was there any thought of, getting more D2C brands or having those brands help you with, kind of completing the categories, etc.?
So, well, to start with, and to be very honest, we've been in the real estate business last 37 years. But commercial development has been primarily a sold model for us. And very recently, we've started sort of operating and managing our commercial centers. But the spread that we have across 8 states and 28 cities allows us to access the intel and consumer behavior from, I would say, places like Patiala, Bhatinda, to all the way in the center of Delhi, Chandni Chowk. That's the kind of consumer mindset we have access to, and we're building onto those shopping centers now. Having said that, with Chandni Chowk coming up, we did explore a lot of ethnic players primarily because it's a wedding destination, and surprisingly, we found many. And we are actually building a light store model. Light store, I think everybody understood. It's a pop-up kind of model where they come in, they put in the capex, and they give out short-term lease period to the D2C brands to access a particular market. So Chandni Chowk was a kind of market which was inaccessible to even, I would say, mature players who were already there in retail, because there's no developed property art such that you can be part of. D2C is even a step further. So we are opening up to, I would say, mature players and D2C players coming in together, and we're doing it all in-house. I would say light store, and recommend other people who have probably done something similar to come and open as well. Coming forward, now we're doing a big development in Dwarka alongside with DDA, which is basically a sports complex and a retail destination spread across 50 acres. So we're looking at bringing in more experiential retail into it. So I see Decathlon being probably the only player out there in sports. Not a lot of people out there in D2C doing this. Would be inviting a lot more people from D2C fraternity to look at this area as well. We are open and accessible to creating something probably which will come for the first time in India. And happy to explore the space. I think there's a lot of work to be done in India. I believe the next kind of luxury brands like Prada would come from India. A lot of people are experimenting with this. And I believe D2C brands and the shopping centers, the complete industry should come together and create something new together.
Thank you, and best of luck to you for your project in Dwarka. Karan, again, just picking your brain on one thing, which, how does the marriage work? Means, how do we use online as a platform to promote offline, which is...
Marriages are very difficult to work on.
Means how, and that is something that will be exciting for all the developers to hear, that how is it that we're using online to promote offline? How does it help the developers to bring in more footfall into the malls? Because, your presence is so widespread online, that how does it, translate into offline?
I think what works for us best is that we don't look at two different words. We don't look at it at online and offline. We look our business as an omni business. All our stores are like experience centers, which obviously a customer can come and book an order for, but this helps me to remove any friction for a consumer to actually buy it online, buy it marketplace, or buy in my offline stores. So for us, it's all omni. But definitely, as we spoke about data, I think data plays a very big role for us in everything we do. Like, a lot of our marketing spends are done in the online world. That's how D2C brands are built, right? They start doing a lot of performance spends, and the brand building comes very late. I think that's where the amalgamation of a mall store and a D2C brand comes very well, because we are able to rationalize and create great ROIs from our marketing spends, unlike the traditional retail businesses, which are still brand heavy. And the malls, through their activities, are able to generate some new eyeballs for us, for consumers who have still not touched base, because our marketing are very specific. They are like, who's my consumer? I know my consumer. I know who's going to buy from me. I know where I want to put my store by a range of 100 meters. That's the kind of analysis we are doing at our end. Like, in this 100 meters, this street, I have plotted my next 70 stores. This is how the 70 stores should open. this is the revenue I'm expecting over there with expected error rate of like 10 to 15%. I think data has evolved a lot. Data is keep on evolving. And the amalgamation of the marketing spends done by D2C brands and the activation and the strength of a mall to drive those footfalls to the brand is where the true omni play comes into play. So like at our company, we just talk omni. We don't even talk what is online, what is offline. Whatever gets built, it's a consumer choice. Just give the power to the customer. He likes a product, let him buy at home. We are able to say that, okay, you just gave me an eyeball at my store, but you bought online.
You know, I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask each one of you to name a favorite brand who's kind of done the omni-channel strategy really well. You know, it could be a physical store going online, or it could be vice versa. But you know, maybe we could start with Alok and Pradeep first, because I'm sure they have their dream brands.
Not in clothing, but I believe like a brand which has done exceptionally good in Omni as well as implementing technology. I would say it's Decathlon, right? Like the kind of seamlessly you can check out, no queues, even if it's a large crowd there inside the store. But the kind of technology that they have implemented, it makes it a very seamless operation, and as well as the true omni way of buying, right? Like you can buy from the website or from the store, and it's like the same experience. Price parity is there, and seamless, checkout is there, and I believe that is like something that every brand has to achieve. And same thing as what he has mentioned, right? Like we have to look at it in a true omni-channel manner, right? It's not only offline or online, but how do we give that great experience to the customer in a true omni way, right?
What about you?
Yeah, so in a large brand, I think H&M, fabulous. I mean, my wife and co-founder, so she keeps buying from H&M. Where is the store, or it's online, or it's Myntra, own website Myntra. So large player H&M. I think in young startups, and I still like to call Lenskart young. If you meet the founders, you think they're extremely young in thought process. So Lenskart, I think, phenomenal omni. And in sort of brands which are way ahead of us, but we look forward to, I think the Sleep Company and Jiva are two brands that we really love in terms of what they've done in omni.
Ashish?
I think what Nykaa has done, offline, online, both, while they're growing online, but then offline numbers are really great. I mean, now, at our Tagore Garden, they used to do 1 crore. Now they're doing 1.75 crores. The growth that this brand has got, I mean, is phenomenal.
What about you, Karan?
Well, thanks, Pradeep. I love to get my brand name heard more and more, but being a little more, being more modest, I think I echo his thought. I really look forward to a brand like a Carrot Lane or a Lenskart, because they are the brands which started online, they built the business online, and then they went really heavy in offline. And now the playbook is set for Omni, right? You want to buy up, and they are not easy models. They are heavy on inventory models, a lot of SKUs. And they have solved those complexities of managing inventories across online and offline and still providing a great experience to the consumers. This is not easy, and these are tough industries where they are trying to compete with the unorganized sectors. I think both the brands have done phenomenally well, and a lot to learn from them.
And remain fashion forward as well in that category.
Yeah.
So, I personally really like the streetwear brands that are coming up, sprouting up now. And I mean, the way, probably I would name a few, Almost Gods or Crep Dog Crew, or, these streetwear brands that are coming up really well. They definitely have started coming into that space. So they have like a couple of stores, or 3 stores, or 4 stores. So such stores and such streetwear brands that are doing really good online, they need to be actually shown, because that's what the younger mindset is right now. Kids or the young teenagers, they are heavy on all that stuff. And the way we used to buy clothes, I mean, I'm not that old, but but the way we used to be, it used to be, simple. We wouldn't buy a shoe every week or maybe, in 3 days. But now the younger generation is buying the shoe or maybe clothes or whatever it is every day, online, something or the other, or they're going to the store and they're buying something. So these guys and the kids, going forward, they are looking at these kind of brands and they want to see them in malls, right? And that's what we need to do. Like, we need to bring them in. We need to, create a certain support system for them, because that's the future of fashion, I see, in many things. And of course, everybody is catching on for that. I mean, of course, the biggest statement is H&M or a Zara. They're always changing their style within a week. They know what is going on in the market and stuff. But these Indian brands, they're doing really well, and they have a very good thought process. The Indian designers that are coming up, phenomenal. The work they are doing, phenomenal. And everybody wants to buy, and not only in India, everywhere around the world. Like, if you're going and buying from an emporio, a certain brand, you'll see people wearing the same thing at many places, right? But these Indian designers, they're creating something new, which is not unique. They have like a one pair or a two pair or three pair of that. Maybe they are doing it later on, but so this is something that I believe should really be taken forward. Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Well, clearly the global politics seems to be favoring Make in India only. Every country is being sanctioning every other country with respect to the trade. So going forward, we have to produce everything ourselves. We cannot just dump in products from China or US and just sell in India. We're not going to be only the market. We have to manufacture as well. So consumerism has to increase to follow it. And Gen Z being a very fashionable sort of generation coming in who wants to buy and I feel express everything through what they do, what they're wearing, how they carry themselves. So that's the bigger picture. And I feel that Omnichannel obviously is one tool to solve that. And I believe D2C brands think in terms of numbers. So customer acquisition cost, I have seen, go across from even 20% to all the way 40% in newer markets to acquire. Well, shopping centers are available, they're giving revenue share of way less. So they can easily access a lot newer markets. And I feel that kind of information and knowledge is still not with them because a lot of young people are doing so. So I think we have to come up with more such sessions and platforms for them to be informed about it primarily, because everyone is actually just comparing performance marketing to probably a cost of opening up a store and how to make that life easier and the transition easier. And of course, a lot more brands are here to come online and then move into offline and grow in an omni-channel way in the long term.
I'm saying, which is your favorite one in the omni-channel space that you feel has done really well, or whose journey has been exciting?
Favorite brand? Like I'm not Gen Z myself, so not too much passion. But yeah, I think Blue Orange is doing really well. Yeah, and Almost Gods is also. I really like the streetwear brands that these will come from. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my
Yogesh,
turn. So if he's not Gen Z, so you can think about me. But I have limited knowledge, but in my opinion, Lenskart, Dyson, Nykaa, and Zara. These brands I have seen closely. There was clarity of thought and execution, and they have done implementation very clearly. That's a good part.
The Zara online shop is extremely successful, competes with their offline business. So yeah.
So simple for me, Nykaa, Lenskart, and Bombay Shirt Company.
I think, for me as well, I think Nykaa, clearly. Because as rightly said, not only execution online, offline, what they did fabulously was also they used stores as in-city warehouses during COVID. And eventually we started off with them as an experiment. And actually they end up paying us more rent what they pay us. Yeah, so that was phenomenal, right? So execution
Nykaa seems to be the clear winner of this panel tonight. Thank you.
I have a question. Can I ask a question? D2C brand.
Yeah, so please.
After how many followers you decide to come on offline? Generally, 100,000 to.
So ours was not a follower count one, to be honest. Ours was more of saying at a certain revenue scale, we knew that online would now go about 2.5 times from there, as what we could see. And company is very online DNA heavy, which means building an offline first DNA of like I said, right? Capex, performance marketing versus rental plus, and rental plus cam plus 2 rupees increase hoga, all of that to sort of be measured in, etc. Right? I think that was what was where we decided that we'll probably need 12 to 18 months where we are today, where we have a lot of comfort. Hence, we said let's do EBO at that point to say that it'll take 18 months to be ready to, let me put it this way, sign an LOI in 1 week if we have to, or even shorter if need be. Right? So that was what was the marker. Follower count now, we are at 425K on Instagram. I think we were about 180K followers at that point.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And the second question, generally when this offline business started, all the offline stores had like 5% of contribution from online, then it grew to 8%, 10%, 15%. And up to, I have seen some brands are going up to 25%, also 28%, but they also believe that beyond 28% is difficult to be online. In your case, it would be the other way around. That, do you think that the offline business will surpass online or...
So for us, it has already happened. Offline business has already surpassed online. If I had to put it in that way.
Malls are relevant, very relevant. Yeah.
Offline is relevant, and I think that's what I told in the beginning. That category is such. For us, the category you can't buy it online. You want to buy offline. That's why followers was never a KPI for us. It was amount of calls coming to our call center. Amount of calls coming to my call center and saying, I like your product online, but how can I see it? How can I touch and feel it? And then I want to buy. That made us open stores. And the true success was when I told you, right? I think the best cocoa store in our category, their best store in the country was doing 15 lakhs a month. And today also, we are the highest cocoa stores in our category. And my average throughputs are going upwards of 40 to 45 lakhs per store. So I think the success came automatically that we saw that, okay, offline is working, consumer is coming. He searches me online, comes to my store, looks at the product, and buys it wherever he wants to buy.
I love them because they take sleep very seriously, just like me.
Yeah, and maybe the underlying question is how serious are you all about offline? If that is the way we've understood this, sir, is that one of the co-founders has to be on offline. That's the marker, right? So my other co-founder works on D2C, and we have a team, and they do most of the. Yeah, and a different mindset is required. So one of the co-founders, and that was a very clear board advice, plus a lot of, we have founders of brands like Sugar, Mamaearth, who are investors in Zook. So they also said, one of the co-founders decide, it wasn't a coin toss. I was more excited, she was more excited about online, and so I said, okay, I'll do offline, she'll do online, because clearly the focus has to be there, and that's how we sort of built that out.
Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts. I think it was a really insightful session to get both the DTC and the real estate gurus here. Thank you so much again. Thank you.